Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can address careers, finance you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew. Technical difficulties, we're having some packet loss. We're not sure what's going on, but I know we are live and we will continue until we can get this back up live again. But I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, remember, we are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live, we are we are YouTube Live at Daily Divine Direction. And we want you to stay connected with us throughout the day through our internet radio station, WKAPfaith.com. But I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, for whatever reason, we finally are having some clarity again, and now we have more packet loss. So one of the things that I say repeatedly about technology is that it is a blessing and sometimes it is a curse. But we are here with you in 3D every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. So sometimes you might just have to bear with us until the internet clarity becomes stable. For whatever reason, I know we had a little storm in our area this earlier today, but there really is no reason for us to be suffering with what we're suffering from today, because everything has been checked. But just stay with us, and I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. Before I do that, I want to say this. So we're asking everyone for the next week to send out the link to WKAPfaith.com to 3 people that you know each day, so that we can make certain that we finished this first year of our internet radio station strong, and I'm excited about everything that is to come in the coming year. We are going to be having a promo later this month, and I want everyone, if you will, we're asking everyone to just stay tuned, stay connected with us. We're doing our very best to keep things flowing, and I have to say I'm watching the monitor right now because we keep going in and out with some packet loss. And yet it's telling us we have an excellent connection. So I really don't know what to expect from the internet today. But in any event, if you're having some problems watching us on YouTube, go over to our website at newlifeministriesinternational.com. Scroll down and click on live stream. Perhaps you'll have some clarity there, but for whatever reason it is going in and out, and so I'm just going to continue going forward, and we'll make it through the broadcast today, and hopefully tomorrow will be a better day also. But I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you are tired of dealing with men who want nothing more out of life than a good time. And so you said, however, how do you begin to experience a different kind of relationship? So let me start with that. Let me work off of that premise of one of the things that you're going to find necessary is that, we seem to be really suffering in our internet connection right now. So I'm going to continue, but I'm really not certain what's going on here, because we were showing an excellent stream, and now we're showing that we are having a little. There's an error in the stream, but in any event, what I want to do is remind everyone that we are with you live right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So you indicated that you are having some difficulties with the men that you're dating, and the problem exists in this. So what's happening is that you've been out on the scene yourself, and so consequently the men that you are meeting are men who are out on the scene also. So you've got to recognize that if you want to meet a different type of man, you're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to start preparing yourself first for a different type of relationship. You're going to have to recognize how important it is to, first of all, do things differently than you've always done them. So let me kind of delve into this a little further, and then we'll see where our live stream takes us today. But it looks like we're up on YouTube now on Daily Divine Direction, so you can go there. If you're having problems with Facebook, or if you're having problems with the website, whatever the problems you have, just try and maybe go to one of the other platforms. But I have no idea, because it's telling me we're getting. First was telling me that we're getting a excellent stream, and for whatever reason, it's not doing that. But let's focus on what has to be done to really have a different kind of relationship. So you have to focus on developing that. You have to really focus on preparing yourself for a different kind of relationship, because what you've been doing is you've been having a good time, so the men you're meeting are having a good time. And this is going to take me into another communication, but I'm going to say this. You can't expect to meet men who want anything more than a good time if all you're doing is meeting men in the clubs, if all you're doing is meeting men when you go out with your girlfriends to brunch, if all you're doing is meeting men who are out and about. Those are not men who are looking for a relation. Let me rephrase that. They may be looking, but they're not interested in having a relationship with someone who's already out and about. They're just out having a good time, so they're meeting women who are out having a good time. At some point in time, they will decide if they want to have a relationship with you. But the problem is, right now they're just having a good time. And I've said this previously to many of our female listeners and viewers. If you're the good time girl, you're going to meet men who are interested in having a good time. You know, one of the things you can do, first of all, is prepare yourself. Prepare yourself to have a relationship. Make sure your attitude is right. Make sure your behavior is right. Make sure that your level of commitment is just that. It's about, building a relationship, getting married, building a great quality of life, perhaps having children because you're young enough that you are still able to have children. So you've got to know that this is the time to prepare you first. And then you put yourself in a position to meet men who are not out just trying to have a good time. So let me tell you what that looks like. You're not necessarily your colleagues, but people who are in the profession that you're in. Other people in your profession know other people in your profession. So they may be able to introduce you to someone. Or you might be able to go to an event where you can, and I'm going to tell you one of the best places, most people don't realize this, one of the best places that you can meet individuals who are really stable, who are not just looking for a good time. You position yourself going to charitable events, going to a charitable fundraiser or going to a charitable event. You will meet individuals who are interested in charity and philanthropy and who are career-minded people who are trying to better themselves. You'll meet those types of individuals. Now, you may have less in the pool to choose from because quality individuals are hard to come by. So you might go to one of those events and you might find only 5 people who are compatible with you, as opposed to going to the club and you might only find 1, as opposed to going to the club and hopefully getting picked up by someone. That's not a quality individual. That's somebody that's just out having a good time. But at a charitable function, there are so many charitable causes. You know, there's the look. I'm going to take you a little further with this. There's the Alzheimer walk or run. There's 5Ks that raise money for Boys and Girls Clubs. There are marathons that you can train and run that have charitable partners. So you can sign up for one of those charities. If you're looking for giving, for opportunities to give, you will find more quality individuals. That's just the reality of human behavior. Those are different types of people. The people that you find at the clubs are just the people that want to hang out, they want to have a good time, they want to go on trips. And if that's all you want out of life, then that's what life has to offer. But you say you want to experience a different kind of relationship, so you've got to place yourself in different environments. You've got to start doing other things. You know, I'll give you an example. My wife and I were talking to another couple, and we were talking about, we have an annual golf tournament that we'll be hosting in the coming months. And so the husband's going to play, the wife's going to work the registration table. And so we got a conversation about playing tennis. And then that conversation led to playing pickleball. And that conversation led to playing more golf. And all of that I say to say this. When you place yourself in different environments, you meet a different quality of individuals. I'm not saying anybody's better than anyone else. We're just doing different things. You know, pickleball has become very popular. I have not played pickleball. I do play tennis, but I haven't played pickleball before. But it's something that we can have in common and we can do and enjoy, and some exercise for all of us, because all of us are, well, they're younger than we are, but but we're all in this similar age group. Well, the husband's not much younger than me. He's, as a matter of fact, I guess we're about 9 months apart in age. I'm 9 months older than he is. But I say all of that to say, we're not looking for opportunities to hang out in the club. We're just looking for opportunities. And I know you may say, well, you're not at the age to be hanging out in the clubs. Well, no, but there are lounge lizards. We're looking just to enjoy doing some different things that are going to keep us all healthy. You've got to decide what you want to accomplish in a relationship and then start doing those things, because you're going to encounter a different type of individual, a different quality of individual. People who are hanging out in the clubs are at one state of mind. People are hanging out to have brunch and hopefully, meet someone. That's a different environment. That's not conducive. See, here's what people thought. And people thought if they went, I'll still hang out in the clubs with my friends. If I meet somebody in the clubs, cool. If not, then on Saturday and Sunday we'll go to brunch, and maybe I'll meet someone who's having brunch with their friends, and then we can all kind of, group together. But you're all still drinking, and you're all still hanging out. So that's only going to lead to, how about if we take a trip together? How about if we do this together? And if that's all you're looking for, then that's all you're going to get. But if you're looking for a relationship, the first thing is to position yourself in places where different types of individuals can be found or can find you. And then the second thing you've got to work on is making certain that anyone you date is going to have a relationship with the Lord. That's a whole different quality of relationship. So let me kind of share with you. When you want different quality of men, when you want a different pool of men to choose from, you've got to at least, and this is where a lot of single people make their mistakes. You've got to be in the house of God, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because you think that if there are no single men in the church, that you're not going to find them in church. But there are married men in the church who have single friends. There are married women in the church who have brothers, siblings, who might be compatible for you. So you're getting a different quality of individual. You're not getting the individual who's trying to hang out. I'm thankful that we have the type of men in our church that we have, because we have real men who love the Lord, who are husbands, fathers, my case, grandfather, who are trying to do the right things. We're trying to get it right now. And we know people who are trying to get it right. But you've got to be willing to really date a different type of man, because we're not the type of men who are still chasing the world any longer. We've been out in the world. We know what the world looks like. We're not chasing the world any longer. We're chasing the Lord and trying to get this thing right so that we can build a better quality of life, we can have a better quality of life, and that we can live our lives to experience the fullness of God. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider with no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. Again, call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider, T-Mobile, at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated, okay, so you said you want to marry someone wealthy, and you want to know, how do you find these men, because most of them are married already or in relationships with significant others. So the question you have to ask yourself is, why do you believe you deserve to marry someone who's wealthy? So you got to know what your reasons are, because there are ways to meet people who are wealthy that you may never know are wealthy. There's a lot of people in the world who are wealthy that are unknown. But having said that, because they're not athletes, they're not entertainers, they're That's not who they are. But having said that, you've got to really know and understand why you deserve that type of life. What work have you put in to be able to live in that category? Because if all you want to do is marry someone, I've heard young people say this before, I want to marry rich, I want to marry wealthy. And that sounds good, and I know that's speaking things into the atmosphere, and, I get it. But the question you have to ask is what work have you put in to deserve to live that life? Because to whom much is given, much is required. So let me tell you what I've often told my children. With wealth comes responsibility. With great wealth comes great responsibility. So I've told my children that because the scripture says, and my children are adults, but the scripture says, to whom much is given, much is required. So there's going to be much required of you. You can't want to marry someone wealthy just because you want to have money to spend. It doesn't work like that. Because if that's your state of mind, you won't meet someone who's wealthy because you haven't prepared yourself to meet someone who's wealthy. You haven't prepared yourself to marry someone who's wealthy. Because your goals don't align with wealth. You're not equally yoked. You're not equally minded with someone who has wealth. Because with that wealth comes the responsibility of taking care of the poor and the fatherless and the widows. With that wealth comes the responsibility of making decisions on how you can be a better employer, how you can, be a job creator, there's so much that goes along with being wealthy, and it's not just, what can I buy today, what can I waste money on, what can I spend money on, what can I do to demonstrate my wealth. It's not that. And it will never be that. It's about taking the responsibility of being wealthy and looking for ways to not only build the kingdom of God, but to enhance the kingdom of God. How can you have an impact on the lives of others? And if you don't come from wealth, you have to get an understanding of that over time. So you have to start out small. You don't despise small beginnings. Start out small and find out, where can I have impact? Yeah, life will be better when you have more resources. Life will be good when you have more resources. However, there's a responsibility that comes with resource. There is a responsibility that comes with that. So I'm encouraging you to change your state of mind from you want to marry someone who's wealthy to you want to build wealth so that you can be more responsible with dispersing wealth and having an impact on the society in which we live. I'm going to use an example. I've talked about this in the sermon at our church previously, and I talked about the giving pledge. There's a giving pledge that says that people who have over $1 billion have pledged to give away the majority of their 90% of their wealth before they die to charitable causes. To give it away to philanthropic causes, philanthropic endeavors, charitable causes and philanthropic endeavors. Because they understand the importance of the responsibility of the wealth. It's not just about letting your Yeah, sure, their families are going to be taken care of. Sure, their children, their grandchildren, great-grandchildren. That's what we focus on first. But once you've accomplished that, then it can't be about just you enjoying life and demonstrating your wealth to the public. It can't be about that. It has to be more about how you can impact our society. In what way can you have an impact on society? You know, through education, through sustainable employment, through sustainable housing. I'm just naming some things to say. You've got to find your fit. And then if you find your fit, you'll find someone who's fit for you and that you're fit for. That you're a good fit. That you're able to walk together in agreement. You're able to walk together equally yoked. Because if all you want to do is marry someone wealthy, you will eventually get divorced from someone wealthy and the wealth will be divided. Sure, you'll walk away with a settlement, but then what will you do with that? Because it won't last. Because only what you do with God on your mind will last. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything that a man could possibly need. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And The White Company. This segment is also brought to you by The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. And, you know, I'm going to say this. This is very interesting because you say I can probably do this before we run out of time. You are 30 years of age and you're having a difficult time meeting and dating quality men. Once again, there's a theme here today because I've seen this going on for some time. You want to know, how can you do better? You are looking for love in all the wrong places. I'm not going to sing, but listen. Quality men are not hanging out. They're just not. Quality men are not hanging out. They are really looking for the best way to build a great quality of life. That's what quality men are doing. So look at your professional environment. This goes back to what I said a little earlier. You don't need to date your colleagues, but people that are in your profession may be good for you to date. But you only want to make yourself available because it's not your job to find a man. It's your job to be found by a man. For you to prepare yourself to be found by someone who is looking for a wife, because he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor of the Lord. He's got to be looking for you, and God has prepared him. So I'm going to address this a little further tomorrow because I've seen a lot of these communications coming in about relationships again, so we're going to address that. But I want to remind everyone that we're asking everyone to send out a link for WKAPfaith.com. 3 people every day for the next week that you know for the next week. Just send it out. Send out a link and invite them to tune in. We want to finish out this first year strong in our internet radio station, WKAPfaith.com. Today's Daily